Hey y'all, it's Risey here, and today we're going to Modulo Chapter 2 review.
Opens up with us seeing Usama.
Last chapter, we realized that Sukuna might actually be back. He might be Maru, so reincarnated, and he's now good and not the old evil Sukuna we know.
Ami and this other guy, I don't know his name. Maybe they say it in the first chapter. He's not really that important yet. But they're meeting up with the Sumerians. That's kind
Oh,
of
that's
difficult to say because
Tengu.
I'm so used to saying
Tengen?
Sumerians, which I'm pretty sure
Long
Gege is like
ears.
just
Long
changing the letters
earlobes.
on that for his aliens, which Dandadan literally does. Like the aliens in Dandadan,
Oh,
or at least
their
one of the
names are,
races, are called
yeah,
the
the names.
Sumerians, just like, one of the oldest civilizations in human history. But they're talking about protocols with them coming into contact with humanity and whatnot, such as like infectious diseases and things like that, which is totally understandable because
Oh,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure like War of the Worlds, one of the oldest
What is
iconic
that?
alien invasion stories.
The aliens are
Ugh.
like eventually defeated by like bacteria.
And we're seeing this guy
Where's
Jabaloma, which is a
Maru?
hilarious name.
That's a
And I'm sure some of
Jabaloma.
you thought just the way that I did,
Weird
whoa, this
name.
guy looks like Tengen, or at least looks
Yeah.
like what Tengen becomes, because Tengen starts off as like a woman, and then through the immortality technique that they have and not having a host or whatever, they become something like a cursed spirit thing. Now, does
Yeah.
this mean that Tengen is a Sumerian? I don't know. Maybe? I mean, Tengen just looks like a normal human woman, but I guess the Sumerians, aside from their third eye, look like normal humans too, somewhat, except this Buddha looking guy. And also, the earlobes, like I said,
Yeah,
Buddha. We all know
long
that Gege
earlobes.
loves Buddhism and including that mythology into this series. But when they're meeting, they seem cordial at first. Like, this guy's nice, probably a wolf in sheep's clothing. But as for them looking like Tengen, could be a coincidence or it could be a hint that cursed energy originated from aliens, possibly, and then somehow it infected humanity through Tengen doing something. I don't know. Like I said in my first review, we probably won't find that out, but I wouldn't mind if Gege just decided to say it was aliens the whole time. But Jabaloma
That's a
introduces
crazy name.
their representative, and it's this guy that we saw in the first chapter with the horns, who we
Oh,
assume
yeah,
is
tall
going to
guy.
be like the final boss of this series. And that seems to be the case for sure. This guy comes out aura farming as he's supposed to. We're not getting his name yet, but this guy is like for sure, the final boss. And we don't get to see the
Big
meeting
boss.
that they have. Maybe
Somewhere
we'll see it
in
in
the
the next
manga.
chapter. Like Gege's doing some Pulp Fiction timeline stuff here, but Usami and the other guy are like stressed from having a meeting with this guy. And he's like, no wonder they're saying it's on par with Ryum and Sukuna. And we did hear that in the
Oh,
first
they
chapter.
know about him.
And we didn't really know what to exactly make of that because it was always in context to the 50,000 of them. And I thought, okay, 50,000 of these guys is the equivalent of like one Sukuna or one Sukuna level incident, I guess you could say. And that very likely could be the case, or it just means that this guy is as strong as Sukuna. And I guess he
I'll
kinda
be
has to
crazy.
be, or at least rivaling
Another
Sukuna, because
Sukuna?
if he is the final boss, which I mean clearly he is, look at him. He has to be really powerful, and it would just be kind of anticlimactic if the final boss of this series isn't as strong as Sukuna. Then we get more of Gege trying to be like Togashi again with his superfluous dialogue, which I talked a lot about when I was reviewing the original series. Essentially, they're just saying that negotiations or just talks between the Sumerians and Earth, especially Japan and America, is very delicate, I guess you could say, because boomers, right? It's all just saying that there is going to be a war because they're saying, war is one thing we can't allow. We must avoid it at all costs. And they talked about it
I
in
don't
the
blame
first
him.
chapter. There's going to be an invasion. There's going to be a conflict.
Alien
there's going to be
invasion.
hostility. Because at first it doesn't seem like they are. They're refugees. They're just here to find a new place to live. They just want to chill. But obviously, it's never that simple. But also, Gege did tease the curse merger a lot in the first series, and that never materialized. So it's very possible that there is never a war, and it's kind of just like the sorcerers fight horned final boss guy, and that's like an isolated incident. But anyway, this conversation wraps up with Usami saying, like, we need to not be like the boomers. We must strive for true harmony.
And
Can't
boomers.
open up the Sumerians'
What did the
hearts
boomers
with
do,
our
bruh?
adult formalities. We need the
Yuta,
spirit of a
Maki,
new
and
era.
Yuji
And I
all
like how
count.
this guy responds to him. It's like, we're
I don't know
really
what they
going to
talking
entrust
about.
the fate of Japan and the world to a couple of
Couple.
teenagers? And
Just
it's
like they
like,
did in
yeah,
JJK.
That's essentially what most shonen manga is.
Hey, same thing
Gege
happened
has
in
broken it
JJK.
down to its bare essentials. Then we get into like this long sequence of Tsurugi trying to convince Yuka that aliens are here and that Maru is an alien. She's incredulous about it because I guess somebody has to be. I mean, she's not like reading the series the way that we are, so it's understandable that she just doesn't automatically believe this. So they go talk to the terrible guy from the first chapter who was, kidnapping kids. And he
Yeah,
tells
he's
them a
weird.
little bit more like that their names are the Sumerians, how their ship is holding 50,000 of them and it's hovering above Earth, and that to prove to Yuka that these things are real, and I guess Tsurugi to a smaller extent, even though he's already accepted the truth, it's that considering that there's 50,000 of them in that ship, supplies have to be running low. So at some point, Earth is going to have to give them supplies or trade or whatever.
And that's
And
where
at
the
that
alien
point, the
invasion
ship,
comes.
which has been made invisible by a barrier technique, will become visible for the transfer. And if the siblings can go there at the right point, at the right elevation or whatever, they can see the ship. And that's exactly what they do. They wind up seeing the ship and they're now convinced that yes, aliens are here. And once they see the ship, Tsurugi is like, so this is the special grade curse that's on par with Ryum and Sukuna, right? And again, it makes you think like, oh, I guess all 50,000 of these aliens with their ship is on par with just one Sukuna. It's an ambiguous thing going on here. You can take it however you want. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see exactly what this truly means, because they do say that 50,000 of these guys could probably take over Earth if they all do have cursed energy, which seems to be the case. And then we get further clarification, if we didn't already get it in the first chapter, that Tsurugi is trying to be the next Maki and Yuka is trying to be the next Yuta. Then we come to Maru and his brother.
Another
whose
good
name is
duo.
Cross. We heard about this guy in the first chapter, and we knew that he was probably going to be the opposite of Maru, and it turns out, yeah, he is. Maru is like the clean-cut babyface, and Maru is seemingly just straight heel at this point. I mean, it's so black and white in this introduction chapter. It seems that our opinions are split on the matter between conflict and coexistence, and Maru's like, no, conflict is wrong. It's like, okay, now we know the difference between them. But we're also finding out exactly why they're having Maru infiltrate Jujutsu High and work with Yuka and Tsurugi. And it's because, as Cross says, spend more time with the Earthling sorcerers and present your evidence for consideration. That's your job right now. Essentially to see, how do they feel about conflict and coexistence? How strong are they? What else can they do? Because there are nefarious motives to what the Sumerians are doing.
I do want to see their abilities.
Like I said, for sure there's going to be
what
a
powers
war,
they got.
or at least
they got cursed techniques.
And the chapter winds up ending with Tsurugi coming to the roof, and he sees Cross, but he thinks it's Maru because they're identical and he hasn't met Cross yet. He's making small talk with him. He's like, hey, why are you up there? People are going to think you're, going to jump or something. And Cross is like, shut up, don't talk to me. And Tsurugi's like, what's his problem? And he darts away. And that's where the chapter ends. I assume that this is going to lead to Tsurugi and Cross fighting or something. Having a little clash or a small fight or something. Let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. If you like the video, please
I'd pass your abilities for sure.
Have a great day, and I'll see you next
If
one.
they're fighting next chapter, that's gonna be good. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.